warships gathering in the waters around Iran, the wars in Gaza and Ukraine ongoing, and Washington's energy strategy in Venezuela still in question. This upcoming presidential speech is likely to attract international scrutiny. But instead, in a midterm election year, analysts expect President Donald Trump to focus on a domestic audience.
The president is a bit reticent to talk too much about foreign policy because even members of his policy said he's too focused on winning that Nobel Prize and he's too focused on all these things going on internationally and not focused enough on domestic politics. So he's going to have to be very careful in how he does this. But of course, he wants to take a victory lap with Venezuela. He wants to talk about the peace deal that's going on between Israel and Hamas. And he wants to talk about the types of things that he's been doing with Iran and with Ukraine.
Millions of Americans will head to the polls this November, and the rising cost of living is one of the top voter concerns. Experts say the US leader may use his speech to directly address worries over affordability.
It's not just that people think that the president is getting it wrong on the economy. It's that they think he's distracted and that his actions have actually made things worse on the economy. So he needs to talk about what he's going to do to make people's pocketbooks a little bit fatter so that they are able to afford more than they are right now. The midterm elections are always a referendum on the president's handling of the economy. And right now, that's not looking very good for him.
In defending his economic record, Donald Trump may tout his signature tariffs. But research from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York shows about 90% of the costs from his tariffs have been borne by US consumers and businesses rather than by foreign exporters.
When I think about what we're going to experience in the year ahead, chaos. I think that there's a chance that trade policy and tariff environment could become a lot more uncertain. We'll see what the Supreme Court says. And it was always the uncertainty aspect of trade policy and tariffs that risked derailing the economy. And so that's a huge risk.
But rebalancing the global economy to favor the US over China is a core part of President Trump's agenda.
We're putting out wars by our trade policies, and we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, and our country is wealthy again and secure again, and it's part of national security.
Still, many experts argue that the administration's emphasis on trade policy as part of national security may come at a cost.
The national security strategy is so focused on China as an economic challenge and almost entirely ignores the security picture. It has not focused on the Indo-Pacific. It's frankly done a lot to push away some of our closest allies there. And I have to wonder if you're sitting in Beijing, if you don't notice that Taiwan is mentioned exactly 0 times in this strategy.
It's highly unlikely that complicated foreign policy issue will make it into the president's speech on Tuesday either. Instead, many in his party, wary of losing their seat in this year's midterm elections, will want him to use his prime time spotlight to focus on the GOP's economic messaging as they fight to keep control of Congress during the last 2 years of Donald Trump's presidency. For CNA, I'm Kate Fisher in Washington.